I need you to pay attention to what is happening across the Pacific Northwest right now, because this is no longer just a few isolated wildfires burning in remote country. This is a regional fire emergency. Major fires are active across Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. Entire communities have faced evacuation orders. Major roads and highways have been closed. Smoke is spreading hundreds of miles. And the weather pattern over the next several days could make an already dangerous situation even worse. One fire near the Oregon-Idaho border, the Big Grass Fire, has exploded across hundreds of thousands of acres. The Fox Fire in eastern Oregon has forced evacuations and disrupted travel along Interstate 84. Near Sisters, Oregon, the Akawa Butte Fire has burned tens of thousands of acres and is still only partially contained. And here's the part that should concern everyone in the region. The atmosphere may soon bring strong winds, very low humidity, and dry conditions right back into areas where firefighters are already trying to hold the line. That combination is how a contained edge becomes active again. That is how a small spot fire becomes a fast-moving grass fire. And that is how a quiet afternoon can become an evacuation emergency. Today is July 31st, 2026, and we are breaking down what is happening across the Pacific Northwest, why this fire outbreak has become so dangerous, which areas need to be watching closely, and what you should do now if you live anywhere near an active fire zone or downwind of the smoke. Because the fire itself is only one part of this emergency. The wind matters, the dryness matters, the terrain matters, the smoke matters. And what happens over the next few days could determine whether this situation begins to stabilize or gets significantly worse. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We are tracking a serious and rapidly evolving wildfire situation across the Pacific Northwest, especially Oregon, southern and central Washington, western Idaho, and parts of the inland Northwest. Now, before we go any further, I want to make something clear. This is not a video telling you that every city in the Northwest is about to burn. That would be irresponsible. But it is also not something people should brush off, because the fires may be burning far away from their own home today. Wildfires can change quickly, smoke can travel even faster, and during periods of wind and very low humidity, conditions can shift from manageable to life-threatening in a matter of hours. The Pacific Northwest is dealing with multiple major fires at the same time, and firefighters are being stretched across a huge geographic area. The Big Grass Fire near Jordan Valley has become one of the largest fires in the country, burning across southeastern Oregon and into Idaho. It has threatened homes, ranches, power infrastructure, roads, and rural communities. The Fox Fire in eastern Oregon has grown rapidly under hot, dry, windy conditions. It forced a level 3 go now evacuation order in the Huntington area and led to closures along Interstate 84, one of the most important transportation routes in the region. Then, farther west, near Sisters, Oregon, the Akawa Butte Fire has burned more than 27,000 acres. Firefighters have made progress there, but the fire is not over. It remains a major incident in central Oregon, and crews are still working deep into the burn area to secure the perimeter. This is what makes a fire emergency so difficult. People hear that containment is increasing and assume the danger is gone. But containment is not the same thing as extinguishment. A wildfire may be partially contained, but it can still have hotspots. It can still throw embers. It can still flare up when winds increase. It can still threaten communities if the weather turns against firefighters. And the weather is exactly what we need to talk about. So why is the Pacific Northwest facing such an intense fire situation right now? The answer is not one single thing. It is a combination of dry vegetation, heat, low humidity, lightning, wind, and geography. Let's start with the fuel. When we say fuel in wildfire terms, we are not talking about gasoline. We're talking about grass, brush, trees, needles, dead branches, dry leaves, and anything else on the ground that can burn. After long periods of hot, dry weather, those fuels lose moisture. Grass can become extremely flammable. Brush can ignite quickly. Dead trees and dry branches can burn intensely. And once vegetation gets dry enough, a single spark can become a serious problem. That spark can come from a vehicle, equipment, a campfire, a downed power line, or a lightning strike. In this case, lightning has played a major role in several Northwest fires. Dry thunderstorms are especially dangerous during fire season. A dry thunderstorm may produce thousands of lightning strikes, but very little rain reaching the ground. You may see dark clouds, hear thunder, and assume rain is helping. But instead, much of the rain evaporates before it reaches the surface. Meanwhile, lightning is striking dry terrain. That can create dozens of new fire starts, sometimes in places that are difficult for crews to reach quickly. And some of those fires do not explode right away. They can smolder for hours or even days before weather conditions line up and suddenly push them into rapid growth. Those are called holdover fires. Lightning strike may start a fire in a remote area. It may stay small at first. And a few days later, temperatures rise, humidity falls, and wind picks up. That is when the fire wakes up. That is when it starts moving. And that is when firefighters can suddenly be dealing with a major incident that seemed minor just days earlier. Let's talk about the big grass fire first, because this is one of the biggest reasons the Northwest is on high alert. The fire is burning near the Oregon-Idaho border, southwest of Jordan Valley, Oregon. It has already burned hundreds of thousands of acres across dry grass, brush, and sage country, and that type of terrain can be deceptive. When most people picture a wildfire, they imagine a wall of flames racing through dense forest. But grass and brush fires can move unbelievably fast. A grass fire does not need huge trees to become dangerous. Dry grass is light. It ignites easily, it spreads quickly, and wind can push the fire front across open terrain at a speed that catches people off guard. In large grass and sagebrush country, a fire can cover miles in a day under the right conditions. That is why evacuation orders in rural areas are so serious. There may only be one road out. Cell service can be weak. Smoke can reduce visibility. Fire can cross highways or block roads. And if the wind changes direction, a route that looked safe 1 hour earlier may suddenly be threatened. The big grass fire has put communities and critical infrastructure at risk on both sides of the Oregon-Idaho border. Officials have used evacuation orders because the risk is real. And when an evacuation order says, "Go now," that is not a recommendation to start packing. That means leave. Do not wait to see flames from your home. Do not wait until your neighbor leaves. Do not wait until the road is crowded. And do not assume that because a fire looks distant, it cannot get closer quickly. Fire behavior depends on wind, terrain, and fuel. A fire can move uphill quickly because heat rises and preheats the vegetation above it. It can race through a drainage when wind funnels through it. It can spot far ahead of the main fire if embers are carried through the air. That last part is especially important. You do not need a wall of flames to be in danger. A wildfire can throw burning embers ahead of itself. Those embers can land in dry grass, on a roof, in a gutter full of leaves, under a deck, or near a woodpile. That is how homes can ignite even when the main fire front is still some distance away. Now let's move to the Fox Fire in eastern Oregon. This fire showed exactly how fast a wildfire emergency can impact everyday life. The fire grew quickly under dry, hot, and windy conditions, forcing evacuations near Huntington and leading to closures along Interstate 84. And that matters because I-84 is not just some small local road. It is a major transportation corridor connecting eastern Oregon, Idaho, and communities across the Northwest. When a wildfire closes a highway, it creates a chain reaction. People cannot evacuate using their normal route. Commercial traffic gets delayed, emergency vehicles need clear access, communities can become more isolated. And drivers who are unfamiliar with the area may end up trying to take alternate roads that are not designed for heavy traffic. That is why you should never drive toward an active wildfire area just to see it. Do not become part of the traffic problem. Do not stop near fire lines. Do not park on dry grass. Do not fly drones over a fire. I need to say that clearly because it is still happening across the West every fire season. If unauthorized drones enter the airspace near a wildfire, firefighting aircraft may have to be grounded. And when aircraft are grounded, firefighters lose one of their most important tools. Air tankers cannot drop retardant. Helicopters cannot make water drops. Aircraft cannot scout the fire behavior from above. Your drone footage is not worth delaying a wildfire response. The Fox Fire also shows why local evacuation alerts matter more than social media rumors. If you are in eastern Oregon, do not rely on a viral post from someone who lives 100 miles away. Follow county emergency management, local sheriff's offices, state transportation departments, and official fire information pages. They will tell you the evacuation level. They will tell you which roads are closed. They will tell you if a shelter is opened. And they will tell you when it is safe to return. Now let's talk about Central Oregon. The Akawa Butte Fire near Sisters has burned more than 27,000 acres. And while firefighters have increased containment, this remains an active incident. Crews have been working to build deeper mop-up lines around the fire perimeter. What does that mean? It means they are not just trying to stop flames at the edge. They are working inward from the containment line, putting out hot spots, removing burning material, and making sure fire does not creep back toward the perimeter. That work takes time. It is exhausting. It is dangerous. And it becomes much harder when the weather is hot, dry, and windy. A wildfire can look quiet from a distance, especially during the morning or overnight hours. But heat can still be burning underground in roots, logs, and heavy vegetation. Then afternoon, winds increase, humidity drops, the sun heats the slope, and suddenly a fire that looked calm starts producing smoke, flames, and embers again. This is why firefighters do not declare victory just because a fire is no longer making headlines. The fire can still be there. The threat can still be there. And communities near the perimeter still need to stay alert. Central Oregon is also vulnerable because of its dry forests, grasslands, high desert terrain, and frequent summer wind patterns. Fire does not care whether you live in a forested mountain community, a ranching area, or a growing town near the wildland edge. If dry fuel and wind connect, the fire can move. Now here is the biggest concern moving forward. The Northwest is watching for a dry, cold front and fire weather conditions that could bring gusty winds and low relative humidity into parts of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. And that may sound technical, but this is exactly what you need to understand. A cold front does not always bring rain. Sometimes it brings wind, sometimes it brings a wind shift. Because you do not have to live near the flames to be affected by this fire emergency. Smoke can travel hundreds of miles. It can move across state lines. It can settle into valleys overnight. It can turn a clear day into an unhealthy air day in a matter of hours. Wildfire smoke is especially dangerous because it contains fine particles known as PM 2.5. But these particles are tiny enough to travel deep into your lungs and even enter your bloodstream. That can worsen asthma. It can trigger breathing problems. It can affect people with heart disease. It can be especially dangerous for children, older adults, pregnant people, and anyone with lung conditions. If your area is under an air quality alert because of wildfire smoke, take it seriously. Close windows and doors, run air conditioning on recirculate if you have it, use an air purifier if possible. Avoid strenuous outdoor activity. Do not exercise outside just because the temperature is comfortable. If you can smell smoke, there's a good chance the air is not ideal for your lungs. And if you need to be outside during unhealthy smoke conditions, a properly fitted N95 mask can help filter fine particles. A cloth mask does not provide the same protection from smoke particles. Also, please understand this. Smoke can be dangerous even when the sky does not look dramatically smoky. Air quality can be unhealthy before it looks apocalyptic. Use your local air quality index, or AQI, rather than guessing based on the color of the sky. If the AQI reaches unhealthy levels, reduce time outdoors. If it reaches very unhealthy levels, stay inside as much as possible. And if you have asthma or other lung conditions, make sure your medication is available before smoke moves in. If you live in a wildfire-prone area in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, or anywhere across the West, this is the moment to get prepared, not when the evacuation order comes. Now, you should know the difference between evacuation levels in your county. In many areas, Level 1 means be ready, Level 2 means be set. Level 3 means go now. Again, local wording can differ slightly by county, so check your local emergency management office. But the idea is simple. Level 1 means stay aware. Level 2 means you should be ready to leave immediately. Level 3 means leave right now. If you wait until Level 3 to decide what documents to take, what medications you need, where your pets are, or where you will go, you are already behind. Build a go bag. Keep it simple. Important documents: medication, phone chargers, water basic clothing, pet supplies, glasses, cash, a flashlight, a battery pack, and keep your vehicle fueled. This is especially important in rural areas. Gas stations may be closed, out of power, or inaccessible during a fire emergency. You should also have more than one evacuation route. A wildfire can close roads quickly. The road you use every day may not be available, and if you're told to leave, do not waste time trying to protect every possession. Your home can be rebuilt, your life cannot. There's another thing homeowners can do, and it matters more than people realize. Create defensible space. That means reducing the vegetation and materials around your home that could help a fire spread directly to the structure. Clear dry leaves and needles from gutters. Move firewood away from the house. Trim vegetation near siding and decks. Keep grass cut low. Do not store propane tanks right beside the home. Remove dead plants and dry brush. Use non-combustible materials around the first few feet near the structure when possible. The first 5 feet around your home is extremely important. That is called the immediate zone. If burning embers land there, you do not want them finding dry mulch, leaf piles, wood furniture, or stacked firewood. You want a buffer. You want fewer things that can ignite. Defensible space does not guarantee a home will survive a wildfire, but it gives firefighters a better chance, and it can reduce the chance that a single ember turns into a house fire. Now, let's quickly go through what not to do during a fire emergency. Do not ignore evacuation orders. Do not drive into smoke to check things out. Do not use fireworks. Do not fly drones near fires. Do not park over dry grass. Do not burn yard debris. Do not post unverified evacuation maps or fake fire updates online. And do not spread panic by sharing old fire videos as if they happened today. Wildfire misinformation is a real problem. People see a dramatic video from another fire, another state, or even another year, and they share it with a caption claiming it is happening nearby. That can create unnecessary panic and distract emergency services. Use official sources: county sheriff's offices, state transportation departments, state forestry agencies, local fire districts, the National Weather Service, the National Interagency Fire Center. Those are the sources that matter. So, what should we watch over the next few days? First, watch the wind. If fire weather watches become red flag warnings, conditions may become more dangerous for active fires and new ignitions. Second, watch humidity. Very low humidity can dry fuels further and make fire spread more efficient. Third, watch for lightning. Thunderstorms in fire season are not always good news. If storms bring widespread soaking rain, that can help. But if they bring dry lightning and gusty outflow winds, they can start new fires and make existing ones worse. Fourth, watch the evacuation maps. Evacuation zones can change quickly. Fifth, watch the smoke forecast. You may not be under a fire warning, but you may still need to protect your health from smoke. And finally, watch your local roads. Highways and rural roads may close with little notice, especially when smoke reduces visibility or fire threatens the roadway. The Pacific Northwest is facing a dangerous fire emergency because several major ingredients have come together at once. Dry vegetation, lightning, extreme heat, low humidity, strong winds, multiple active fires, evacuations, road closures, and smoke spreading far beyond the fire lines. The Big Grass Fire, the Fox Fire, and the Akawa Butte Fire are different incidents in different places, but together they show the same bigger problem. This region is in a volatile fire pattern, and with more fire weather concerns ahead, this is not the time for complacency. If you are in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, or anywhere in the inland Northwest, check your local alerts today. Know your evacuation level, keep your vehicle ready, protect your lungs from smoke, avoid anything that could start a fire, and if officials tell you to leave, leave immediately. I will be watching the fire weather setup, the wind forecasts, and the latest official incident updates closely. Stay alert, stay prepared, and stay safe.